My name's Ross Carrick. I'm 41 years old. Before coming in to Abbeycare, I had basically burnt my life to the ground through my addiction, specifically alcohol and opiates and benzodiazepines. I found myself in a situation where I was completely isolated from everybody, including my family. Basically lost all my friends through just not communicating and keeping in touch with my friends. I was living in a flat by myself in a remote town in Scotland, and basically not even leaving the flat. I would order my drink in. I'd managed to make it to the pharmacy to pick up my script of medication, which I would be using as well. And I would just be spending my days constantly drinking and using, and then being asleep, and then waking up and just continuing it. And that cycle would just repeat and repeat until quite often I would end up having to get an emergency hospital detox because of various physical symptoms that were occurring because of my excessive alcohol use. So I'd completely burnt my life to the ground. I mean, prior to that period of isolation and heavy usage, and that period lasted a good few years. I was actually quite a successful academic. I was lecturing in law at top universities around the country, and working. I completed my PhD in law at the University of Edinburgh, and I was working really hard. And through various circumstances, I found myself out of employment, and that's when the sort of heavy period of drinking started, and that's when other drugs came into that as well. And slowly but surely, over a period of, I would say, about 10 years, through sort of the drinking progressing to more and more severe and extreme states, I ended up losing all my friends, and like I described at the beginning, sort of finding myself isolated in a flat, only drinking, no interest in anything, not even answering the phone. During that period that I just described, where I was isolated, I was attached to an addiction service in my area, and through them witnessing me repeatedly going into hospital, getting told how bad my physical state was, and needing emergency detoxes and all sorts of other medication. Eventually they said that they had funding to get me into a private rehab facility at that point we weren't sure how long it would be for, but they presented me with various choices of rehab facilities that they could send me into for a long period of time, and Abbeycare was one of the choices they presented, and they were able to describe various differences between there were three they presented me with, and Abbeycare seemed like the most appropriate for my needs. In the first instance, what was very beneficial was a safe space where you were basically completely not at all capable of getting any alcohol or drugs. That safe kind of, I used to call it a sort of protective bubble that you were in, and I was in Abbeycare for 3 months. Having that space where it was just physically impossible to go and get some drink, go and get some drugs, where everything was basically catered for you, your food and your beds, and all your needs were kind of met. It gave me a bit of time out, much needed time out from the chaos of my addiction and my addictive behaviour, to give me the headspace to be able to start to kind of even just think about getting better. And Abbeycare was excellent in that it provided an abstinence-based programme that focuses on the fellowship and the 12-step programme of recovery, along with CBT. The combination of all those factors, with expert therapists who are experienced in these things, including the 12-step program of recovery and fellowship, they were able to, over the 3-month period I was there, instill in me what was important and how to go about staying sober, but not just staying sober, but getting well, getting a life that wasn't just about staying sober, but a life that was actually where you would thrive in that life. For me, I had nothing in my life prior to coming into Abbeycare. I had nothing to focus on, no social activity at all. Introducing me to the fellowship, the rooms of the different meetings that I now go to regularly, and the 12-step program of recovery gave me a sense of purpose and belonging, a sense of being part of a community that's all about recovery. And like I said before, not just about staying sober and clean, but about being part of a community of people that are like-minded to get a better life for yourself.